platform for restaurants. But I do iOS development for them during the day, and then at home I tinker on a lot of my own stuff. So this is like a project. So this thing I created called Actionable. It's a service that lets you get advice for your product or business or service from experts and operators through video Q&A. So you could you launch into the app and you can see different categories or different topics. So here I'm showing you like indie app development. You can't really read the thing here, but there's like a question up here that, someone asking like, what do you like about indie app development, or how do you make a living off of it? So you could see if you're an expert in one of these categories, you could answer questions. But here's maybe a bigger one. So here's an expert for one of the people in this category, and they could view a video that they answered a question. I disabled the sound, so just give you an idea. And you can also ask them questions specifically outside of a topic or specifically to somebody. So this person I know is in Orange County, and I'm asking them, what's a good way to connect with people in Orange County in the tech community? And then that person can respond back with a video answer that gets posted to their public profile. So, okay. And then he has the question and he can answer it when he's ready. So let's get out of that. So here I'm gonna demo briefly about posting your own answers to a question. So I'm looking for an answer or a question that I want to answer. So this is a general one about someone's asking the experts to tell them a little about themselves and what are apps that they currently enjoy. And so I spent like a lot of time with AV Foundation. I didn't know this framework at all. And so I was trying to figure out how to do recording and editing and stuff like that. And maybe I'm still just new to AV Foundation, but I feel like it's like one of the least documented and accessible frameworks from Apple.
Well, there's a lot of competition for that.
Yeah. And the AV team is a very small team.
What's that?
The AV team is a very small team.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had met them at WWDC, and even getting answers from them for stuff was very tough. So here's just the thing, I can create and record different clips and then merge them all together to post an answer. So it's, kind of like one of those things like Vine, you hold it down to record the answer, you could do the front-facing camera, the rear-facing camera, and then, you can see as I answer the question, they pop up, or the segments pop up. I don't demo it here, but you can swap the segments around too. So I could say let me pick up that one, the third one, and replace it with the first one, and then stuff like that. This will go on for a while. But and then when you're done, you post it. I do a little bit of video processing in terms of concatenating the stuff and making it I'm a goofy, so just playing around. And then emojis as well. But the general idea is to, I make different versions of the asset on the device for the different sizes to be consumed if it's on broadband or cellular and stuff like that. So encoding it at different bit rates and then uploading it. And then it shows up in the feed for that category. So and then you can kind of see the video and watch it as well. I guess for demoing it and showing the thing, I was asked to talk a little bit about frameworks that I use. So I'll break it down into 3 different things. First, so this is my first endeavor into using ModelViewViewModel pattern. And so I really started getting into it, and probably almost getting into it way too much, and trying to apply it to every single little thing. But the things I really, really liked about it was being able to separate the logic from the presentation, which we know already from ModelView Controller. But the thing that I really like with the ModelViewViewModel is no longer referencing within my business logic things from UIKit, so that I can make completely independent unit tests that test the logic for presentation stuff. And then I feel like my code now is so much more easy to write tests for. I don't have an example because it's on my laptop, but I condensed an old version of a test where I was testing, process modifying data on a model, and it was maybe close to 20 lines of code, so I do all this stuff, and then when I set up with the ModelViewViewModel, I probably condensed it down to 5 lines of code of testing stuff for setting up tests and the mock data or the stub data, and then running it through to make sure like asserting all the values were right for the logic. As I mentioned before, came in completely new to AV Foundation and learned like it was not necessarily complicated as much as like there's no single one thing of documentation that is right. Like even from, I think it took me a while, I post all the images of the videos up online, and to get them to be streamable after you post them and watch it, like you have to like really, there's like a few things you have to tweak to change the some of the metadata inside it so that whatever's browsing the video knows that it can start streaming it right away. So it moves the data to the first packet in the video versus the last. So like knowing what the file size was. And that took me a long time just to even nowhere in the documentation I found it. I found it somewhere like deep in like a Stack Overflow answer. One thing which I really loved, I found this thing called Bug Life. Has anyone heard of Bug Life before? Bug Life is really amazing for soliciting and getting feedback from users. It's an easy drop-in API or SDK where it allows me, so if you have a version of any of my apps, you can take a screenshot or shake the phone and it'll show up a little dialogue that says, do you want to provide feedback? And it provides like a really easy and robust tool for users to do this. So here's a case where, like, do you want to report a bug? And so it's just from like shaking the phone or from taking a screenshot, and then oh no, it's missing a whole bunch of images. Yeah, here it is. Sorry, it was a little out of order. I'll jump back to that. So after the screenshot gets put in, the user then can annotate the screenshot to send to you. So they can add things like arrows and magnifying glasses and blur out parts of the image. So like say for instance, you're working on like a financial app and the person doesn't want to like submit a bug with their account number or something on there. They can just easily just swipe over it and just like blur it on out. They could drop an arrow which says here and then add a magnifying glass where you see where it says view. And here, when they submit it, they can type in more comments for it. And it's been really helpful soliciting feedback from people. And I think from this project to other projects, from the feedback I got, I felt I was able to get a lot more information and feedback through using Bug Life than emailing people and asking them for feedback, because here they're in the app and they know to do it, versus they're in the app, they think they have something they want to tell me, and then they have to go out of the app, craft an email or text. Yeah?
Is it free or?
It is free, but they have tiers. So the data's ephemeral or not persistent. So I think bugs only last like 7 days in their system. And if you want it forever, it's like, I think it starts at like $9 a month.
49.
Oh, 49, sorry. They might have upped their pricing recently. But there's a free version where you can use it and it just is limited based off of time and also integrations. So Bug Life will integrate with Slack. Also, I believe it integrates with was it Jira and maybe like a few other ones, and it also has webhooks. So if you wanted to like create your own integrations, you can as well.
I have a question.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry.
how do users know how to use Bug Life?
So for this, I'm currently have this in test flight. So I get to onboard the user. So this isn't publicly available yet. So if I invite you, I'll have a welcome email for you before I add you to test flight that says, hey, by the way, to provide feedback, here's what you can do. So before you even get to install the app, I'm trying to educate you on what to do.
Okay, but in a normal case, when a common user is using, how will you let them know?
I don't know if I would deploy this to production, especially if it's like, so for instance, at Resi, we have, I would say like, for our iOS app, we're getting daily active users like in like the tens of thousands. We rolled this out accidentally one day in it, and it was madness. And I was like, I probably, even though something like this, I don't anticipate growing that strongly right away or anything like that. I don't think I would want to roll this out in production, at least until I had an idea of like how I can manage that workflow. But this, in the case of soliciting feedback, doing early testing with a core group of early adopters, I usually just send them a welcome email right away and saying, hey, thanks for trying this out and agreeing to test this. Here's what I'm looking for in terms of like the interaction with that specific person. And then, by the way, to submit feedback, I made it really easy. Just take a screenshot within the app, and you'll be provided with a dialogue to send me feedback with the screen you're on. There's some other stuff. I spoke with the developer of this. They're also doing where you can customize. So everything here says like report a bug and stuff like that. For my day job at Resi, like one of the things we were thinking about using it for is customer service. So a lot of times people are going to leave our app to do customer service by sending us an email or adding us at Twitter or something like that. And a lot of times it's related to their reservations. I feel like if we can change the messaging around this, instead of saying bugs, we could say like support or feedback. So it's like a little more agnostic. And so the developer for Bug Life has started like making some of those changes. And then there are other integrations into things like Salesforce as well. So when we do customer service, we can have this directly pipe into Salesforce, for a large organization. So until we get that all sorted out, like I took it out of the production. But yeah, any other questions for Bug Life?
Thank you.
Okay. It's a really great tool. It's easy, so easy to put in. Like it's 3 lines of code. Just if you're using CocoaPods, just putting the reference in there, and then your app delegate, just putting like 1 to load it, and then 2 to maybe set it of like how you want the feedback to work. Is it taking a screenshot, shaking it, or both? Let me go. Is this one? Okay. Yeah. Let me go back really quick to the other one because I did it out of order. So some third-party frameworks I use. I try to keep this very bare minimum. I didn't want to go nuts with everything. So it's pretty much the standards like Alamo Fire, Swifty.json for JSON parsing, which I think I'm going to rip out because I've been having some issues with it. Swift Date, which is just extensions around the date class. I don't know how to pronounce this probably, but Haneke Swift, which is a caching tool. And allows you to do, what I like about it is it allows me to do a lot of caching as like data objects versus just images, so I could decide how I want to reference it. Instead of like just having it like always giving me back a UI image, I can have it giving me back a data object, or also like JSON, so I can have it text or a data object as well. So like I'll sometimes cache JSON data, and so it's been really helpful with a lot of things. Signals is really great as like an event bus. So it's kind of like almost like a notification manager, but I can set up like events and listeners or subscribers to events, and then be able to handle them as appropriately. One thing which I didn't mention here, especially with MMVM, is that I'm starting to evaluate RX Swift for some stuff. Still kind of on the fence of if I want to really go that far with it, but I feel like at this point it's a mature enough library that I don't think it's gonna not like keep up with the changes in iOS moving forward. Let's see. So the other set of frameworks is analytics and usability. So I talked about Bug Life already. So I'll go down to usability first. So Intercom is really interesting. Anyone familiar with Intercom? No. Intercoms, they mostly do in-app engagement. Everyone here has probably run into Intercom, where you go on their like a developer's website or another website and you get that little chat box that pops up. It's really annoying, like ding, ding. That's one of their features that they have. You could build that into your app. But what I like about it is they provide, it's paid, however you can get around some of the paid aspects of it if you just used it for data collection. It gives me really good insights about, if I set up the data correctly, how a user got into the application, how many sessions that they had. So if I'm connecting with someone, I can then reach out to them and be like, oh, I've seen you're in the app, you posted a few videos or asked a few questions. And so I could already get like, it's like CRM for my users in the application. Branch metrics, anyone familiar with branch metrics? Okay, got one person there, but just in case, it's a great way to track your web to installs. So web links to installs. So if I share like a link with you and you click on that, go to the App Store and download it, I can track to know if that's the case. I'm not effectively using it right now because it's not in the App Store yet, but that's been like a really good tool. Fabric, I'm hoping everybody here knows, so I don't need to go to that. And the Facebook SDK I've mostly been using for being able to do this so I can then do some targeting inside of Facebook if I want to try out paid acquisition and stuff. I use actually Twitter for authentication. Yeah.
What's the size of the app after you add the Facebook SDK?
Right now, the app is roughly 32 megs. Only importing right now the core stuff, and it's really just for tracking the installs. So, yeah. Touch Visualizer, which I didn't use in my demo, but I like using it a lot when I have it enabled. If I'm making a video recording, it'll actually display all the touches on the device. So if you're going to make a demo video, if you do it when you record it with QuickTime, it won't automatically show you all the places you're touching or swiping. With Touch Visualizer, you can add this framework and then enable it, and then it'll show you like where you're tapping and swiping from. Let's see. Oh, and as a backend, one more time. As a backend, that's all developed on AWS using Elastic Beanstalk with a Python application being deployed. All the images and all the videos are hosted on S3 just for data management. Using RDS for just a simple database storage using MySQL at this point. CloudFront for delivery network, so it's cached, and so that what I found is that it really makes the delivery of the video much faster than delivering it straight from S3. And it's really nice. And then Elastitranscoder to be able to process my MP4s to, if I need them at different resolutions, especially if I'm gonna put them on web or make previews of them. And so using that there. And so that's it. I'm open to feedback for the app or any questions about it, and yeah.
How did you bind the view model to the view controller using VVM?
Yeah, so binding the view model view controller, I basically took the simplistic approach of having an update handler. So that is passed in as either a function or a closure, or as a block. And that'll then, the view controller instantiates the view model. And then the interface will reference that. And so like right now I'm binding directly to the events to say update a form field or a button or something like that. And then afterwards I will call the update, which then will go through the logic to update it. And then the view controllers, the block inside the view controller in the update handler will then handle all the updates of all the outlets.
Okay, so the view controller initializes the view model then? It's not like injected in or anything like that?
No. Currently it's not. I want to move in that direction, but right now it's not. Yeah. Anybody else?